Well, good evening, and thank you very much for taking some time out of your Monday night. We've got the Monday night chat here with John Young, MJ, and myself, and we've got a topic tonight that might make some of you cry.
Or laugh.
Or laugh at some of our expense. Yeah, I got that. But no, I think we've all had a great week. End of sorts, I'm going to assume. Maybe it was quick for some of you, but I will say this. My news feed is much more full, both Facebook and Instagram, with DJ friends of mine who are having events. So if you're in that boat, awesome. Very happy for you that things are going awry, or going well. And
right.
Tonight we're going to talk about things that might go awry. And
and crash.
Because I think our topic tonight was about breaking gear, and this is something that's happened over the 30 years I've been doing this. I have broken numerous pieces of gear, and this happens sometimes because of our doing, and sometimes it happens because of something that happens at the show. Guests, hotel people have done some things that have broken gear. There have been things that have happened, and tonight's discussion is going to be kind of about experiences that we've had, what we've done, what we should have done. What happens when basically there's something that happens to a piece of our performing tools that's no longer functioning for us, or how do we bandage to get through? And that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. We've got folks coming in on Facebook and YouTube. We've got JC, Matt, Robin, Howie.
Don't forget Howie up there.
Yeah, Howie's up on the top there. We got some Facebook folks. I can't see. I apologize. Can't see who is on Facebook. It just says Facebook user, and it doesn't. It could be the same person over and over again, I guess.
I'm not sure why Restream does that. Maybe there's something, a switch we need to flip. But I've run into that too.
I think that each person that's watching on Facebook has to somehow give Restream permission, or has to connect.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
There's something with that, and
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I even think I revoked mine. Maybe.
Hello, Mike. Thank you for Mike's out on Facebook, and he just said, "This is Mike Jones." Thanks, Mike. It's good to see you, and thanks for being with us. So, Dan, let's start at the very top. The reason why this topic came in is you had a personal experience.
Yeah. So this weekend, first off, you guys have followed, my build project with the booth. And so this weekend I got to my new venue, or got to the venue I was playing at this weekend, backed the trailer up, which is exactly what I was wanting with this booth. So I can drop my ramp door, go right onto the floor of the venue, right into the place where it needs to be, and everything would be perfect. And I lowered the ramp door, and I noticed the strap that holds my booth was not hooked to the wall, which meant for the 30 miles that I drove it to get to the venue, it was not strapped in. I'm not sure if this happened because it came loose, which that's not like Easy Track stuff to do. If somehow the previous weekend when I did a wedding show, I didn't clip it right, and so therefore it actually had been loose for two different trips. I'm not really sure. The good news was that I really play Tetris sometimes with some of my loose gear, like my rock and roller card and a couple other things. So it couldn't go too far. But what it did was it kind of did one of these in the trailer, and it ran into my EKX 18 subs that are strapped in and the ratchet strap that's on that. So the bottom of my booth kept hitting the ratchet strap tightener and marked it all up. It caused one of my trim pieces to completely come off. And then as I was wheeling it out of the trailer, before I found this other part, it went a little loose on me because I was trying to control it, and it ran into the barn door right in front of the venue owner, mind you. And it dented the top trim piece that is kind of like the countertop-ish type of piece. So I had three different issues that I had to fix, and people were already at the venue. And so it was a matter of trying to fix things very quickly.
So Dan, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have children?
Do.
So do you take them anywhere in a car?
Yes, and I always strap them in.
How thoroughly? No, you said you strapped the booth in.
Oh, I
So I just want to know how thoroughly you're checking. I mean, maybe we should have your wife double check you. You know, maybe we should tell her, hey, double check him every time.
Make
you know,
sure the kids are buckled in. Well,
yeah,
but
you know, it only takes, what is that? One oh crap to 20 attaboys or something like that.
So let me start by saying this.
You're
Okay,
sorry?
because my wife has even questioned this about me once or twice.
Just one thing she's questioned.
About this.
About this, okay.
I care more about my kids than I do my booth.
Good. That's a good start.
Okay. So there.
Your wife
there's
said that.
No, I said that. The wife questioned that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because if she said that, that's good. But yeah, that sounds better.
She questioned that as I was building it, and we were taking it out. My oldest helped me wheel it out of our house after I kind of added all the trim and everything else. I did that in the house, and we had there wasn't a lot of room there, but we got it out. And she even said to my son, she's like, "Be careful if it gets nicked." And I was like, "Come on, I care more about my kids than I do the booth."
Well, Dan, it was that part where you said, put your arm between the booth and the door so it doesn't scratch the booth. That was probably...
That was. And in all fairness,
the bumper of the car as I push it closer.
His arm was already dinged up. It's okay. It was okay for that. He didn't need that hand anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Go stand between the booth and the bumper. Hold on.
Here comes the booth. Catch it now.
So that, I mean, I know how much work you put in. Like, all joking aside, I know how much work you put into that, and especially right as you're walking into a gig. And here's another question: a barn gig, so I'm guessing it wasn't like dark; it was still daylight outside, probably. So it was anything was visible. You couldn't like hide it by backlighting from the other direction or something, right?
Well, okay, so let me. I mean, I sent you guys the pictures, and
I couldn't see any damage, but that's
I mean that's the
like
nice
when I scratch my watch or the phone, I freak out and people are like, I can't even see it. So
let me see if I can just find my pictures.
There you go.
Quick. So,
but that had to have been like that had in itself had to be a recovery period mentally to get yourself back in the game.
Yeah. So this is after it's in, and part of this, I will say, part of the potential problem here with I have a cover I had built for it. Okay. And the cover that I have built comes to just below this trim. I thought I told him to go all the way down. I don't know if he mismeasured. I don't know if I mean, he measured it. So I don't know if maybe I just didn't explain myself, but there's no cover for this spot. But I really never thought there would necessarily need to be one, because the strap that I hook in goes probably right about in this area. So up more on the higher trim.
It's like the old days we're riding the motorcycles. I can have every piece of gear on, but wherever that one piece of gear isn't, that's what I'm going to wreck.
Absolutely. So what you're seeing is that's from the ratchet strap on my EKXs. And then, no, that's MG's.
That's
and then this is the ding that I did with the barn door. From a couple feet away, you don't notice either of them. Like the one that was down lower, like you even kind of said on the picture, you didn't really see it unless you're like really close. It just kind of looks like maybe a little bit of texture.
Well, I have to admit that when I was viewing it, I was tearing up a little with laughter. So, I mean, that's probably why.
I do understand that. I do completely understand and agree with that. But so I will say that. So it's not really noticeable. One of the things that kind of works to my advantage, I used MDF. That's actually partially what worked to my advantage and disadvantage, because that stuff is really flimsy. It's like particle board, but plastic. Like it doesn't take much to dent it. I even dented another piece when I was building it from something else, or cut another piece accidentally when I was trying to build it. So I realized it's, but I wanted light. That's why I went with it.
MDF is out.
But what worked to my advantage was it's not like it was painted wood that if I'd dinged up would have, like, the white would have just been gone.
Good point.
This is white the whole way through. Like even the one that's top, like I noticed like where it was dented and it kind of broke a little bit. I was kind of like, oh, it's still white there. So by the time the guests got in, it wasn't bright light right on the booth. I wasn't backlighting it, but at that point, but it wasn't bright light on it. And I pretty sure nobody noticed it because I had a bunch of people looking at it. I had couples who,
Right.
I had a former couple of mine. They were talking about the booth because I'd watch them and they were like pointing at it and they're like, yeah, he didn't have that when we got married. Like, what the heck? Otherwise we would like, even heard her say like, we would have had that. And I was just like, yeah, I didn't have that. So yeah, it was dark enough that fortunately I was able to squeak through it. And I'm going to try and squeak through it, knocking on wood that nothing else happens between now and when school's out. I just don't have the time to sit there and take off the sets of trim, remeasure, recut, reglue, fasten, make sure it stays and everything until school's out and I have some time.
So did it actually break anything, or is it just the scuffs and the dent?
Scuffs and dents. Well, the one trim broke off, but I was able to crazy glue it back on. Like by the time the one that was above where I was pointing, that got glued back on in place. That had some other dents to it because I think it kind of starts like after it broke off, it was sliding around, maybe even got hit by some things. But I was able to crazy glue it back on.
So there we go. The first thing that's in that oh crap bag, crazy glue.
Yeah. The bad thing was for being a Boy Scout, you would think I'd be a little bit better prepared. I had nothing to repair this booth. Nothing. I'm very lucky that the venue that I'm at, the barn that I'm at, I have an excellent relationship with. I am on the preferred list. I think I'm the top person, not to brag, but if I'm not, then everybody's calling everybody on their list because I get calls for just about every weekend for this one particular venue.
Nice.
I went to them and I said, you got any crazy glue? And she's like, I think I can hook you up. She came back maybe like 5 minutes later. She ran over to the house, got some, brought it back, and I glued it. The rest of the night I had like crazy glue on my fingers. It was fun.
No,
So, yes.
You waited till it dried before you touched the controller,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
He picks up the mic, talks it, and then hands it to somebody, and they're like,
All right, for the rest of the night, I'll be.
I laughed, but I did feel your pain because anybody, you put that much heart and time into it. It's different. Even, if you spend a lot of money and buy something is one thing, but spend a lot of money and build something is a whole other one. So that kind of had to be heartbreaking. How did you kind of mentally recover? Did you just not worry about it? Did you just move on? Or I mean, I know that's kind of, we're talking about breaking stuff, but in my mind, when something happens like that, it's always how quick you can recover that kind of, shows how strong you are at what you do.
I didn't worry too much about the dent on the top. It was kind of behind, like over there's where my laptop is. So again, it was out of my sight, for the rest of the night. So I didn't really think too much about it. My biggest concern actually wasn't even the ones on the bottom because I felt like once I stepped away, it had some texture. It was there, but it was also low to the ground that I wasn't too worried, but it was that piece above. It was the piece that popped off. They really didn't have a whole lot done to it that you could notice other than the fact it fell off. Because I was so fearful that somewhere during the night it was going to pop off again.
Boing.
But this time I was going to be on the other side and never noticed that it popped off. And even if it did, I don't even know what I would do to put it back on at that point. Because like when I super glued it, I had to like hold it in place because I let go of it one time and it slid down. Put it back up, tried a bunch of different ways to get it to stay in place. So it was in my mind, but we also had a couple other things. So we had a storm roll through. So on my mind was, are we bringing the ceremony in? Am I going to go out and set up? If I go out and set up, is my gear going to get rained on because the ceremony's out like in this field by their pond? Like a bunch of little things that I was worrying about there. And then we had a break in the break. So I was like, okay, run out and do that. And so by the time it kind of got back to where I was back in the venue with everybody, it was kind of beyond. I was like, okay, there's nothing I can do at this point. It's there and it's ready to go.
Nothing like another challenge to make you forget about your previous challenge. That's what I always say. If you're having trouble, find more trouble. You'll forget about that trouble.
The first one's gone.
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, what can you take away from this, Dan? Like, what was your first learned takeaway from this?
My first learned takeaway is that I need to make sure that everything is strapped 100% in the trailer. The second thing is to put some other some other safeguards in place. Probably, I will say this, part of the reason why I didn't have a lot more damage is all 4 casters lock, and I had 3 of them locked. The only one that I didn't is one that was kind of against the wall, and it was just kind of hard to reach to. So I figured with the other ones locked, it should be okay. So just putting some more safeguards in place, and then to make sure my old crap bag is stocked with the repair kits. I thought about carrying some extra like trim pieces, but I've got so many different sizes kind of working there that I think I'd be better off to find ways to cover up dings, to fill in those little issues that might happen, rather than trying to carry enough to repair at the venue.
Drape something over it, or I don't know.
Potted flowers.
Yeah, there you go.
They hide so much.
And in vines, they had some vines.
I know someone who lost a little brother for 3 weeks that way. Too many houseplants.
But it was a quiet 3 weeks, so it was great.
They didn't search that hard,
Yeah,
So.
they're like, he'll eventually get hungry.
They set a bowl of milk out on the floor, and eventually he walked out.
Came back.
Oh, wow. So
I will say this. So I mean, and I will say it was a very trying time. It was very nerve wracking. I'm glad I was there. Another thing I will say is, being at an event early, we've talked about it before for a lot of different reasons, whether it be things that can happen en route, traffic, or accidents that are out of your control, not even necessarily involving you, but just delaying you. Always arriving early is extremely beneficial. If a venue is not going to let you into the room, doesn't mean that you can't be there ready to go as soon as they do. So getting there early obviously is key. And that was one of the other things that helped me was, I got there, it was 2 hours early. I had ceremony, I had that rack, and then I had uplighting and a monogram. I did not have a ton of things to set up. So I could take an extra 15 minutes to mess around with this trim and the crazy glue and making sure that everything was still functional without being stressed about trying to set up and do all that and then go, I don't have any time to mess with this. Like I've got to go. Like I need to be
somewhere. Yeah,
exactly. I was able to just kind of roll with it, pretend like I was setting something up, and just took the time to fix it and run with it that way. So, that's another takeaway that I would definitely encourage you, whether you have a booth or whether you have just your normal equipment that you've used every single week for the last 20 years. Having that time is the one backup that you really can't over emphasize.
I want to add something to that time, and you mentioned it about traffic. I've always been a keen user of like Google Maps. Even if I know how to get there, I use it to let me know about traffic. Mm-hmm. And my gig Saturday, I set it as soon as I come out of my driveway and headed up the street, and it told me that the street, like you go down a couple before I get on the main road, that was having construction and was blocked off. So something as simple as that probably wouldn't have taken more than a minute or two for me to go down there and go, oh, it's closed, going to go the other way. No big deal. But if you have that on a bigger road with more, having that on, even if you know where you're going, that can really save you on stuff. So that's like a tool of preparation for all this stuff we're doing. Just keep that in mind. Even if throw it on. Traffics, all that.
And I think it kind of all ties into trying to do things to reduce the stress level, getting there early, making sure you're not going to be in a traffic jam and having that, and having the bag together, with the crazy glue and different things. That all that kind of helps build that peace of mind that you will be able to handle whatever's going to be thrown at you so you can be successful. It's really become one of the reasons why I prefer to set up the day before, if I can. And thankfully, we've got some events where we can do that, where we can set up on Friday. So Saturday, it's walk in, plug in, off we go. Completely different level of stress level by that point.
Now, MJ, I will say this. There was something you mentioned in our chat beforehand, was that, you know, you didn't know how you were going to respond tonight because you've never broken anything. And I'm sorry, I'm calling BS on that.
Well, I mean, I've broken headphones.
Okay.
I've broken faders. I've broken a channel one on the Denon MK1 6001. I had speakers catch on fire, but nothing really major.
Speakers catch on fire? No, nothing major.
Well, they weren't my speakers that caught on fire. Okay. I was at a venue, and in the middle of the show, I'm performing, and all of a sudden I see people run to that side of the stage, and I go over, and there's just smoke coming out of the speaker. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I didn't even skip a beat. But my shirt tonight, Dan hammered me at the beginning trying to figure out the shirt because he will never let me set myself up. But the shirt is simply to tell you to bring extras. Extra stuff. Always have extra headphones, extra music, extra hard drives. In my car, I always keep an extra power cord for my laptop and an extra power cord for the controller that's there, separate from the extra one that's in the case, separate from the extra one that's in the bag. There's an extra one in the car. There's always extras of stuff like that. An extra set of headphones in there. There's an extra set of earbuds in the bag. So if I can't go to my car, I can at least put the earbuds in. I can finish the night or whatever. That's what this was all about. It's just always have backups. I was going to bring out every controller that I own, but I didn't feel like pulling all that crap out because I got like so many little ones that, you know, they've given me to test. John send me stuff and, you know, that he tested and then send it to me to test, and stuff that I do use occasionally. I used one a couple weeks ago for a lesson. It was the same thing that the guy had. I have that little one that I you know, the Hercules little one that I said that I did a mix one night on that. Those are always good backups to have because push comes to shove. You can always tell people you can at least show up, get the job done, and collect a paycheck, as opposed to going, I can't do anything. My computer's down. Where's your backup computer? You know, or my controller's down. Do you have even a small backup? Anything that allows you to go collect a paycheck, you know, have that kind of stuff. Whether it's in the bag, because I'm telling you, here's a good example, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much. A couple weeks ago, my friend Eric said his church was having some trouble with their sound system, asked me if I'd come and help him out with it. So I get there, and we're looking through different things, and their system is pieced together. That's the nicest way I can say that. And I needed something that took me from I think it was a 1/4 inch to an XLR male. Okay. And I'm like, oh, I don't have that. I can't test it. I'm like, wait, I keep a bag in the car of every adapter that you can imagine. And I had 2 of those, impedance changer, 1/8 inch to XLR, and then the other way around. So XLR to 1/8 inch. And I have stuff in there for keyboards. So if your computer needs something, coverage. I have fingernail files in there in case your clippers. I mean, that bag has saved me many times. Just one little adapter, extra headphone adapters. So again, all these little things, and they're just in a bag. And it's always in the car. Never, ever, ever leaves the car. And stuff like that can save you so much. You have no idea. So that's my thing for tonight. But other than breaking the headphones, the fader, the volume channel, and speakers on fire, and then my eyeball one time, that hurt pretty bad. I was setting up, speaker was there, bent down to get the cord, misjudged the edge of the speaker, caught the edge of the speaker right on this bone of the eye as I was bending down. Crank. Woke me up a little bit, but it got hurt more than I did. Yeah, no. So, but yeah, I really haven't broken that much stuff. I mean, all that stuff wasn't stuff that like broke at a gig. It was stuff. Okay, I got to replace the fader. You know, I got to replace this headphones. I literally duct taped the headphones the night I was at World of Wheels car show, and I duct taped the headphones back together to get through the night. Because it was inside their arena, so I couldn't go all the way outside and get the car and back. So I just did it there and got through it. But I really haven't broken that much. I really try to stay up on my equipment, pay attention to it. I'm really anal about packing it. I don't take 1/10 of what you take, Dan. so just the percentage of stuff that can break is not there.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it's, you know, you've seen my DJ case, how messed up it is. It's already rusty and dented and dinged, and I just use it. I mean, it's all there is to it. So,
well, and I would say, I mean, you know, a comment that I made earlier is, you know, you could use the same gear for X amount of years and never ever had an issue with it, and then something, whether it's of your own doing, or as John said, a guest or something like that, does something, and now suddenly you have to figure it out. I've always been extremely careful with my gear. Actually, I would say I'm more careful with my current trailer than I was before. You
admitted it. You all heard it.
No, I did not.
There was hesitation there. I think I saw the hesitation.
Because it took me a second to hear. Yeah. But no, I feel like I'm more careful than I used to be, just because when my old trailer was a smaller one, I did Tetris. I did not have an easy track to ratchet things down. It was all loose. It was all literally Tetrised in, so it didn't go anywhere. Now I have things strapped in, and now go figure what happens. But it's one of those things where, you can be extremely careful, but things can still happen. Things can still be out of your control no matter what. So
yeah. Think about even people that blow, because that's one of my friend Eric's always talking about, that people springtime, first time out, rarely check the tire pressure on their trailers. And you see people with flat tires all the time. And if you happen to hit something that way, and it'll shock the interior of it, slam. That's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, it can make a mess. We had that situation where a trailer blew a tire and then it popped off the hitch, and the chains caught it, but it slammed into the. So you had the bang and that, and then you had that and up and whatever, but everything was Tetrised in, so nothing really inside was damaged whatsoever. But mentioning the different playback methods, when we were just starting to convert over to computer, my backup in essence during that time, or to play songs I didn't have on a computer at that time, were CDs. So I had my I think I had a Newmark, the CDN 88, I think is what I had at that time. Loved the player. It was great. I had that. So that was my mixer and that, and then I just plugged the computer in. And as time went on, I was using less and less of the CDs, but they were always there. You load the first one in case something happens to the computer. As I was going on setting things up, I set my table up. I had a 4-foot banquet type table, maybe 6 foot. It was 6 foot at that time. Set it up. I forgot to slide that little catch down on the leg. Set it on there, turned around, and kind of bumped the table with my hip, but just by bang, the end of the table goes down. Well, that was just enough to ruin both CD transports. Both of the CD set plates they were shot. So I had no CD player for the night. So that was my first show of doing complete computer without any CD. And there was a couple of songs I didn't have on the computer, but otherwise everything went fine on that. Back then I was using this incredibly reliable DJ software that really I think everyone should be checking out, because it is a fabulous piece of software, almost foolproof. It will take the songs and you can put them in the playlist, and then it will kind of go through and change this. What's that?
It's a Winamp.
Windows Media Player.
I'm going to see how long I can keep you guys holding your drinks. But
iTunes?
It'll continue to let those songs play in the order in which you chose.
iPod?
Exactly. But yeah, that was the very first time, and it was that sick in your gut feeling as you're like, oh no, how much damage did I, not knowing that it was just the CD player, assuming that, everything could have been shot. Hopefully not. You're hoping that everything works. But then when the first CD player, it's like, it's not finding a disc. The next one, it's not finding a disc.
Try dropping it again.
Yeah. Did you drop it one more time? Did you hit it hard?
It's a friend of mine's dad always used to say, if it doesn't work, hit it with a hammer. If it still doesn't work, get a bigger hammer.
Yeah. But the drops, I did lose two dual CD players. That came that way. The other one was had the SKB case with everything in it up on top of the cart, and decided to cut a corner as on the sidewalk as it's coming, and I didn't realize there was a tip, and that took out the American audio. I had a really fancy American audio that would play MP3 discs, so you could put on 200, 300, 500 songs, whatever it could fit. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
They were probably compressed to like 28-bit, but you could have a ton of songs on there, and
I remember when Denon came out with the one that would let you do MP3s on a DVD, and it was like, holy crap, I don't even need to change discs all night.
Yeah, just the same one. Of course, it takes forever to access it.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Can you guys just
What's
talk
that
about
drum
your
machine
song?
I hear? It's not the drum machine. It's the CD player.
It's a 4-minute song, and you need every second just to get to the next track.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh, that was half the reason I switched to computers, because Denon had the ones, like I said, that ran off thumb drives that worked great, fast, reliable, but the screens are so small you only got to see like 3 songs at a time. So as that song's ending, I'm searching, whether it be searching by BPM or whatever, because you could search all that. It was like I'm like running out of stuff. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to learn to switch to the computer, and that's what I did and loved it, and also found a software that is superior and can be used on both operating systems, not just one. It's not prejudiced. It will work with anybody.
with any of them. Yay, Linux. Oh.
For Lindos. Lindos is what I had
Windows-
in there
yeah,
one
Windows,
time.
Yeah, had that. So I think the backup, extra time, being, kind of prepare as much as you possibly can, are really what this boils down to. Is that if you do the best you can to give yourself that chance to succeed, knowing that things sometimes do happen.
I think it's also important for you to fully think through your backups. And I want to say it was Rachel who did this in one of the virtual expos, maybe 2 times ago, but it was the idea of thinking through the process that you're using to figure out your backups, and really kind of just going to the whole extent of, do you need every backup? Like, I'm not saying you don't want to have a backup, but do I need to have a complete dual replacement for what I have?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there one piece that I could use as a backup that would take the place of these 3 to get me through?
Yeah.
To get me through that event, so that I'm not carrying now 2 trailers worth of gear just because I have enough for my backup. Like, really think through what you have and what you need, and being proactive in making sure it's the best use of that space.
How many of you guys take extra speakers along?
I used to, but I've stopped doing that. And basically because the backup is, if one of the tops die, the other top is it, and I know I'm not going to be pushing as hard. And I'll probably, I would set it down so it can't push as hard. If I lose a sub, a similar situation, I'll just roll off the bottoms a little bit more. That's how I did it. For a while, I was carrying, when I did the 2 tops, two subs, I had a 3rd top from another 12-inch top that just sat in the back seat of the truck, and that did that for a couple of years. But I first off never used it. The only other, the 5th speaker that does go with me now is the Bose, the little S1. It's the Bluetooth, and I use that because I'll set that up. If there are people there when I'm arriving, set that up and do some Bluetooth to it from my phone and play some something in the background. And then when I'm done at the end of the night, I find if I'm running some music, if I've got a crowd that would be doing the, hey, one more, if I can put on some Huey Lewis music at the end of the night, people are so enamored that they actually get quieter so they can hear the melodious sound of Huey Lewis and the news.
It's what we in the club business, the last song you play that night's always called the "Get the F Out" song.
Yeah, well,
this isn't so bad you want to make them leave.
Yeah, no, this never happens with Huey, but I use that at the end of the night because I really want to send them out with love and compassion, and there's nothing that says that more than that little band from San Francisco.
I usually just let the bouncers give them all the love.
give them love with a forearm in the forehead. Boom!
I said, get out!
It's time to go.
Yeah, that's the line usually right there, yelled. Yep.
Yep.
I will say with my extra speakers, so I carry the Evolves. That's my main rig pretty much all the time, and then I've got my EKX tops that I bring along because 95% of the time I'm doing ceremonies now.
Right.
So that actually becomes my ceremony system. So I've got both of them in there. I'm not going to use both, but I've always got the 2 of them like just ready to go. And so they're there should something happen. So one becomes the backup for the ceremony, but it also becomes the backup for the Evolves should something go down. And as John said, though, I mean, most likely in the event that if something did happen, unless I've got a large crowd where I really need to have both sides, I'm not going out. I'm going to get through it with one side and make use of what I've got for what, for the event, knowing that it's out there if I really feel the need to do it. But I'm also kind of ridiculous when it comes to like symmetric and stuff like that. So I think I would feel more insecure about putting a normal cab up on top on one side with the evolves on the other, even though it was because one went down or something for some weird reason.
I know a few guys that have that would drive you crazy, posting pictures of their setup, and it's so
all over the place. Seems like there's been there's a bit all over the place.
Or something, dude. Robin, you record any gig logs? Is that us you're asking?
No, I think he's asking
Robin.
Robin.
Asking Robin. Just asking Robin. Sorry.
Yeah, Jesse.
See, I don't read very often. I'm usually read to by my computer. Gosh, I really wish I had more stories of stuff breaking. I just don't.
And that's the thing is that you think about the number of shows that, because as I was thinking about it this afternoon, I've probably been involved and performed between 2,500 and 3,000 shows over the years because I had that period of time where I was doing 5 shows a week for 50 some weeks a year. And that was for, goodness gracious, 7 years, something like that. You add that up and it's in that ballpark. And in that time, I've dropped 2 CD players. Probably the most common break I've had is extension cords losing the ground plug in an outlet. That one I think I probably had about a dozen times over the years. And there's nothing that it's in there. And the first thing you want to do is like, oh, I should just grab it and pull it out. and it could be safe, but if they wired the place wrong, it could be a tickle coming. It's like
there is a reason. And I again, when I taught my friend Eric at his church, there's a reason I carry the 3 to 2 plugs, because a lot of the clubs I've went into have really bad grounds and it buzzes. So you have to lift that ground by going from the 3 plug to the 2 plug to get the buzz out of the system. And half the DJs can't. I'm like, how long has this buzz been in the system? I don't know. I never heard it before.
Yeah.
So that's even something there to always keep around. Just something like that to lift the buzz to get yourself through a night. It's not your fault that the place is wired terribly, but you still have to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing I also carry, and I think they're over here now, is a 3-way in an L. Because there was a place I had to DJ at that when I had to get out of the table to go, it was a bar and it was the downstairs area to get around the table. That's where the stuff was plugged into. So if it was like this, it was plugged in there. So if I come around there and bump that cord, it's all gone. Mm-hmm. So I ended up carrying a small right angle plug. So when I put that against the wall, it was flush and I wasn't catching it. So little things like that don't cost you more than, less than $5. Throw them in a bag and you always have that just for that peace of mind, if nothing else.
Yeah, and that's an important part. But yeah, there's been only a few things over the years, and not as many as it could have been by far. Biggest guest damage I had was when somebody did that they were dancing and do the wild dance on a dance floor about 15 feet out. And then they did a twirl, and then they lost balance, and you could just see that slow motion fall, and they crashed and rolled right up on one of the legs of one of my light stands, and the leg became a ski slope because they rolled up it, and the stand went, and you saw it come. You could the slow motion roll. So I was there and caught the thing before it went all the way onto the floor. But that was about I think the worst damage I had. All the times we ran the Bose L1 systems, which are their version of the array, the mini arrays.
F1, wasn't it?
What's that?
Isn't it F1?
Is it an F? No, I think it was the L1.
No.
F18.
L1.
Yeah, L1.
F1 is the one that's like this. Like it's got the top and it's got the 2 pieces that comes down and it's got the sub.
Yeah, that's the F series.
The one that bends.
Yeah, that's the F1. He's talking about the original.
Yeah, that had the plate. The big plate on the bottom.
Okay, yes, now I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Sorry.
And
I'm not a fan. I don't really follow the Bose that much, so it was only a few that I know the numbers of.
And the number of times people would come up there and think, oh, it's a stripper pole, and they start grabbing the thing, and I figured that thing was going to go down numerous times because you never can get there quick enough to kind of in the forehead, so they can get away. It's just you can't get there quick enough, and there's never had a problem. They stood up to a number of people who grabbed it and, oh, it's not stuck on the floor very well. It's like, it's a speaker. Hello.
Jesse asked this question in the chat, and as soon as he did, it reminded me of one of my biggest moments. He said, have you had any lights go out? So I was doing a school dance. This was early on in my career, I guess, if you could say, maybe 2004-ish, we'll say.
Back in '04.
Back in '04.
'04, yeah.
So I at that time, the way that I was running my lights, I didn't know better. So I had the I-beam truss, and on top I put a bunch of, this was like park ants. So this was pre-LED, all that kind of stuff. Maybe even before 2004. And I bought the pars that I bought were like 600 watt bulbs each. Okay. I was running 6 of them into a relay pack, like I think it was the Copilot, American DJ Copilot, like way back in the day. And that was running into one outlet. All that into one outlet. I was at the school, and now keep in mind, I'd use this at some different events, no big deal. I'm at a school dance, and all of a sudden the whole thing goes out. I had browned out 5 of the 6 lights. It was early in the school dance. I had nothing to replace these in the moment. So I ended up having 1 light left, and I don't even know what I used for the other thing. I mean, they made it, fortunately there was enough ambient light with like the decoration lights that they had used that I was kind of okay. But I was just like I freaked out. And for the longest time, I wouldn't go back to the school because I blamed the school until I kind of did a little more research to realize it was because I was putting way too much lights into a single outlet.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be a mathematician back then to figure stuff out. You had to count the things you have up there, and
try to figure out.
Yeah, it was
and it was also some of my novice at the time where like I knew the style of light that I needed to have, but I didn't know that the bulbs inside could be that different. And so when I ordered it from the company was like, yeah, here, have it. Pay for us. Sure, here you go. They didn't ask the questions of like, what are you really going to use this for? Are you like, you bought 4 of them? Like, do you realize, or 6 of them, whatever, do you realize what you're doing at one time? Do you realize how much power you're going to need? No, there was none of that stuff. It was just like, here you go. And so me being, the stupid young person that I was just like, there's nothing wrong with that. It plugs into this outlet. I've got 16. It was 8 and 8. So I have 16 outlets. I'm only using 6 of them. I'm good.
Yeah, lots of room.
Oh, I love people that do stories like that. Because I've seen some bad people just have stuff, just everything go down. And I've actually, there was a place I DJ'd at for a New Year's Eve thing that we're asked to use their system. I wanted to bring mine. They're like, no, ours is fine. And you couldn't turn it up very hard because their amp kept clipping out.
Oh, yeah.
And then come back in the whole night. And people are like, why can't you turn it up? I said, this is their system. I can't do anything about it. Every once in a while, click. No music the whole night. So I after that, I kind of started doing, I don't want to take gigs unless I'm responsible for stuff like that.
Right.
Unless it's the bar that has it full tilt. This was like a little jazz place. They wanted to do a New Year's Eve night. And fine, but no, it was different. I mean, you live and learn. I mean, that's again part of the reason why I don't like doing gigs like that, because there's more variables that are out of my hand. If I'm in a club and something goes bad, I don't have to worry too much about it because it's not my equipment. I'm usually, there's nothing I'm doing that's causing it because I have so little hookup into the system that it's, I'm not affecting that much. But you gotta, like I said, you gotta be prepared for everything because you never, especially doing multiple places, different times, you never know. You never know. Always give yourself time. I think that's one of the best things. I know guys that walk into clubs 10 minutes before they're supposed to start, and I'm like, I've been there half an hour, and I DJ after them.
Mm-hmm.
They open, they come in 10 till, I'm on after them, and I'm already set up and sound checked. Mm-hmm. I've had guys that when I used to do performances, guys come in and perform with me. They're like, well, I don't need a sound check. And I'm like, no, we need to sound check you. I don't care if you don't think you need one. We need
Yeah.
to sound check you. You have to be here early or you don't go on stage. And that's guys get mad at me for that. And I'm like, listen, that's the rules. I told you. Well, you don't understand. Like, I've been late before. I know what being late's all about. You have to tell me nothing. But yeah, I mean, that's the best advice we can give you is stuff common sense. Take a breath, take a few seconds to think your way through every little thing you have and ask, what do I need? What don't I have? Etc. So on and so forth. Also look at your older backup stuff because sometimes it can go bad from just sitting around being backups.
Yeah.
So test when you get new chords, always test the new chords. Don't go, oh, it's a new chord. No, test it before you take it out because you don't know. It can be
lemons.
Yeah, there could be a fault in there of any sort. Always have the simplest things to have backups for is USB cords. I can't tell how many times people are like, oh, I'm having trouble with the connect. I'm like, did you check the USB cord? Oh, thanks, man. That fixed it. I'm like,
well, it's things that you don't typically think of those things because
I do. You start with the simplest and work your way out is what I always do.
But it's a chord. Like in the scheme,
the easiest thing to break. Always.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's often the thing that becomes the last thought.
Well, let's do this. Like, you know how I talk about my mixing? I do it in like reverse engineering. Think about the problems that way. So you don't have sound going to a speaker. Check the speaker and everything's on the speaker, right? Then you know it's somewhere between the computer and the speaker. So the first thing you do is check the computer. Do you have sound coming out of the computer? Pull your cords out and see if you can have sound come out of those speakers. And if you know, well, the computer is making sound. So now it's somewhere between here and the next thing. And then you try a different chord and go, nope. You know, I can see the little lights going up and down, but I'm not getting anything out. I'm like, okay, then we go to the next thing. And you kind of reverse engineer your way. But think about that before you go and have a couple extras sitting around of things. You know, that's why, like I said, I think that's why I have a bag of stuff in the car. It's, you know, even like Dan talked about the being a Boy Scout. I have an emergency bag in my car with just crap stuff that no matter what happens, I have, you know, rain jackets in there. I have Israel bandages and clotting agents, tourniquets, fire starters, extra flashlights, first aid kits, a radio flashlight combo that you wind up if you're out of battery. Just emergency stuff, like a jumper, not cables, but the pack is in there. I have chains for my car that are in there year round. Extra coats are in there year round. You just don't know. Yeah.
MJ has a cargo van just for all of his back.
I do all that. I do all that in a hatchback, and take DJ gear. And I do have a bag, a soft bag full of tools. You know, in case the car or the motorcycle breaks, I always have a full bag of everything in there too. And I can't tell you how many times little things, you know, just, oh yes, I have a wrench that fits that. I'm going to go home now instead of sitting here waiting for a friend to come and help me, you know?
Get it done. Off we go.
Yeah. Sorry I rambled a lot, but it's important to me. It's an important thing that can save you down the road. The littlest things can save you down the road big time. So
absolutely.
Yeah, they can. Let's see. Next, in about 10 minutes, Howie's going to be coming on. And I saw, what was Howie talking about tonight?
Is it John C. tonight?
Yeah.
John Carley.
Yeah.
He told me how to pronounce it. He said it's like the dog, Collie.
Oh.
So that's how I remember.
I always thought there was an R in there. I know.
Yeah, me too. I did. I think I even spelled it out one time with wrong or something.
Yep.
But yeah, that's John's got a. If you don't follow him, he does a lot of mixing on Twitch. Every kind of music you can imagine. Some nights it's full out mix shows. Other nights it's just a yacht rock. You know, other nights it's so he does a lot on there and has a lot of experience in the business. I got to meet him out in Las Vegas when he came out for the DJNTV DJ Expo / Photo Booth Expo. Got to hang out with him, so it's going to be a good show tonight. Definitely go over there.
John,
check Howie out. Tell him where to go to, John.
Yep, DJNTV.com/chill will take you to the chill room, and they'll be doing the recording. And then after that, it's kind of a hangout time to hang out with Howie and the crew and have some fun and get a little shop talk going on. Tomorrow night we will have a Ben Stowe show. We're going to be talking about how robotics in schools is something that we're going to be seeing and benefiting from in the DJ community. And we're going to dig into that tomorrow night because Ben has been very involved with that which, kind of a tech geary guy, he's going to be doing that. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more tomorrow evening. And then, of course, Jay and Brian are going to be doing their show at 10 o'clock Eastern in the chill room, djntv.com/chill tomorrow night. Then Wednesday night, MJ.
I don't know, John. I was waiting for you to tell me because last week you picked the topic for me and it turned out to be a great show. We covered you and your DJ computer, and we just basically broke down everything there was, when shopping for a computer or using for a computer. So what, Dan, and maybe I should put the pressure on Dan this week to come up with my topic because
I'm still reeling from the weekend. I don't know if I can do it.
he's feeling.
It'll be about something. I'm not sure. I've been busy also with things, so I didn't come up with that. I apologize. I was today working on videos that will be out sometime this week about something that's going to be out sometime this week, and that's all I'm going to say.
MJ, have you done recently a show talking about the different branding things you have done, how you have kind of branded yourself, and graphics here, graphics there, and different parts of that?
I have not, and I'm really I just recently redid all my promotion pictures and everything, so that's something I could talk about. Like I started from scratch on new stuff. I made Jimmy mad one night because I told him the one picture I did. He's like, I really like that. I'm like, I hate to tell you, but I did all of it on my phone. No computer. He's like, I hate phones. I mean, it's small for a lot of people to see, but it just happened to work. So maybe I could talk. Thank you, John. See, Wednesday night, join me, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the Music and Mixing Show, where I'm going to talk about ways that you can elevate your branding with a simple use of a cell phone or cheap or inexpensive software, but it's important.
Yeah, that would be seeing how a person does it on a cell phone would be definitely an interesting.
And I can share because I have again with all my tech nerdy stuff. I run all my phone has a little magnet thing, like in the car, but I have one here on the desk that I magnet there, and I also tie it into the computer, so I can share my screen on here with you guys as I'm working. So I can do it all at once.
Neat to see how that.
And when Dan sends me a nasty text, I can show you that.
Oh yeah, well those come through quite often.
Emojis.
Then next Monday night is our monthly virtual training night. We've got next week we're going to be talking about kind of the planning and prep for weddings. Jim Cerrone is going to be our headliner for the night. And let's see, we've got Bill Herman, Ron Ruth, Mike Lenstra, Jason Jana, and I'm missing Jason Rubio is our TED Talks in the beginning, and then Jim Cerrone coming in. So they'll be talking a lot about the planning and the prep and giving you tips on how to make that process and that side of it go quicker. Then when we get into Jim's going to be talking a little bit more on the actual getting more to the performance, putting that planning into the performance and making sure you got the pieces in place. So that's going to be next Monday night. So we won't be having our regular shows. We'll be doing our virtual training and our little spots between sessions. So DJNTV.com. Oops.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, DJNTV.com/virtual expo is the link. That's what we put all of these shows are at. We change it, and that's always the link for the show.
Before Dan signs out, he has to answer DJ Matt's.
I answered it before.
Where's it?
I answered at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
Wednesday
he did.
show, gear or kids? Who do you love more? What do you love more? Who or what?
Yeah, he
I think I honestly value my gear more than my own life. Like if my gear was falling, I would throw myself in between it and trouble.
Oh, I'm totally doing that for myself.
Yeah, I'll heal.
My
Forget
kids
about
are
me. That's true. Kids are different.
Yeah. John, before we do go, I want to ask a question for tomorrow night that you've got to ask Ben because it's related to the robots in schools. If Ben were to build a robot, would it be a BB-8, a BB-9, an R2-D2, or a C-3PO?
Ooh.
What? No lady robots?
No, that's Spaceballs.
Yeah.
That's Spaceballs.
Well, he appreciates it. It's not the same.
Yeah. No. It's tolerated. All right. Take us home, Dan.
All right. On that note, thank you very much again for taking time to join us tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed. You had some laughter, even if it was at our own expense. But hopefully you also took some takeaways that you can use and implement into your own system. Because after all, that's what we're here for, and that's why we have some fun the way we do. Enjoy yourself the rest of the night, and of course the rest of the week. Don't forget about those shows. Lots of great topic coming up, and we'll see you next time.